My name is Gina Haraszti, and I'm indeed teaching Intermedia 2 this year. I'm a filmmaker and artist based in Montreal, and this is my second time teaching.
What was your first time teaching?
I taught Filmmaking 101
Here in Montreal?
2 years ago at Concordia. Yeah, Malhoffen School of Cinema. So TEC stands for Technical Culture, Art and Games. It's a research center focusing on game design, game studies, gameplay, and techniculture art as well. We are very gamey. We often refer to as the game lab of Concordia. We do have a really amazing pool of people at TAG who come from a lot of different disciplines. TAG is not a department, so and there is no game department at Concordia, which is I think one of the reasons why TAG can be so interdisciplinary and so diverse. And we have people from English and communications and art and film. And all these people get together and think about contemporary issues, partially through games. It's a really smart place, and I think that a lot of very important thinking is going on there. A lot of important research that I think defines and tries to understand the culture we live in 2016, because games is such a huge part of it, and it's often overlooked. So that's TAG. And we do have a lot of initiatives. One of the programs we do is Gamerella, which is a workshop series and a game jam. Their game jams are these 48-hour little periods where people get together to make a game very quickly. It's something to inspire and push you and challenge you and make you work really hard and very quickly and meet other people you didn't know before and gain new skills. And so there are a lot of jams around. We do more than one jam a year, but Gamerella is special because we focus on creating a space, an environment where people who are often outcast or marginalized of game spaces feel comfortable, where they feel empowered, while they feel that they have agency, and it's a place where they can create and meet other people who are similar to them. So Gamerella started mostly focusing on women. That's why the name, it's from Barbarella and not from Cinderella, Gamerella. And because from my own experience as a woman, I was like, oh, I don't feel comfortable at jams. I often feel, I have an imposter syndrome where I feel like, oh, I couldn't do that, or I don't want to go there. It's only going to be guys, and they're going to like nerd out over at programming, and I want to understand, or I'm not good enough. And so based on this experience, I was like, okay, I want to create a space where other women don't have to feel it. And then as we started working, I was like, okay, at the same time, I need to understand that there are other people than women who also feel excluded or feel uncomfortable in these spaces. So we opened up, and I think this is really important to acknowledge that, so we focus on reaching out to people of color, non-binary folks, people who live with different abilities, and the list goes on. It's basically anyone who feels they haven't had the chance to make a game in a city like Montreal, where everybody's making games. And so Gamerella is important because it mostly targets people who have never made a game before. But because things like Pixels exist, Pixels is a game incubator, a 10 weeks long game incubator that allows women to make their first bigger game. And the application is right after Gamerella. So we had this really good thing going on where, people come to Gamerella, they take part of the workshops, they learn new skills. Very often they go like, in the workshops, instead of learning new skills, they realize, oh, actually, this is not that difficult. I can totally do this. And that kind of empowerment is super important. And then they partake in the jam, they make their first game, and they feel confident enough to go like, I'm going to go apply to Pixels now and make a bigger game. And then they do that, and by the end of the year, they often get confident enough to be able to apply for jobs in the game industry. Or so we have this fantastic path that starts with Gamerella workshops, goes through to Gem and Pixels, and we also run a summer incubator called Critical Hit, where people participate in that one too, right after Pixels. And we have tons of people who ended up working either in the industry or running their own game studios or making games on their own. And they started at the very beginning with a Gamerella workshop, where they just came in. Maybe I will try this, but probably I'm not really good at this. And then they ended up,
So Gamerella was like jumping off point.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So Gamerella is, I think it's very important in that kind of empowerment and creating a space where marginalized people feel comfortable, because that's one of the big problems with the industry is that although there are calls, and of course it seems women are more and more wanted at the workplace, it's also important to think about how the workplace is, and getting your foot in the door is step number one. Diversity in games is very important because if you look at stats, the games being made right now is by a very unanimous type of demographic, and the games themselves are usually pretty similar. So when you have different people making different games, it just allows for more variety of games. And of course, there will always be shooter games with very attractive, sexy women, but there is space for other games, different types of games, and there is a lot of audience who wants to see those games.